Hey, welcome back to Next Third Best Third. I'm David Fenwick, founder and host, and I'm here in studio with my friend Carrie Jensen.
Hi.
Carrie, it's been about a year since you were here last time.
I can't believe it. I would have thought 3 to 6 months.
I know, isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
But it's been almost a full year.
Wow.
Carrie is multi-talented. She owns her own business. She's a trainer, a nutritionist, and we've been friends for several years now.
Several.
And, yeah,
Yeah.
it's so great.
Mm-hmm.
So Carrie, today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about several different guys, right, at different points in their lives. But the one thing they all have in common is they want to get in shape, but they don't want to go to the gym.
Cool.
Okay?
Yeah.
So the first guy is going to be a guy he could be any age, but he just doesn't have confidence. He probably has never really worked out, and he's intimidated by the gym.
Yeah.
The second guy is going to be a man who's very overweight.
Okay.
Very, very much overweight. Even going to the gym is possibly dangerous for him. You know, he's scared. He's worried, and he's never, he needs a lot of working out, a lot of help.
For sure.
The third one's going to be a man who travels a lot, right?
Okay.
And I know that there's hotel gyms and things, but it's different.
Yeah.
So he travels a lot. And then the fourth one that I want to address is a man who's elderly.
Yeah.
And he's dealing with, just the deteriorating body, the joints, arthritis, things like that, okay?
Yeah. Cool.
So, gentleman number one.
For sure.
Gentleman number one is a guy, he could be any age. He could be in his 20s, 30s, 40s, and beyond. He just doesn't want to go to the gym. He's intimidated, but he does know, and he wants to get in shape.
Okay.
Where do we go?
Okay, that's perfect. So it kind of reminds me of my 20-something-year-old boys
Okay.
who they want to be in shape, but they no longer are at home for me to tell them what to do.
Oh, okay. You
know?
were that mom.
Yeah.
Huh?
Well, it's been like, hey, come to the gym, and I've got
Yeah.
a workout planned, and so
Yeah.
let's go. And now they have to go figure it out, and they want to go, or I'll ask them, what'd you do at the gym today? And I did triceps, just not understanding what to do, going in, feeling intimidated.
Yeah.
You walk into the gym and it's overwhelming, all these machines, all these people that know what they're doing, and sometimes even just like, well, just go get on the treadmill or, get on a bike, and because just not sure what to do.
And by the way, that intimidated thing and overwhelmed, that happens to
even me.
Yeah, right?
Even me,
I
when
just
I'm
joined
new to a new gym,
Yeah.
I walk in and I'm like, oh, where are the treadmills and where are the free weights and all those machines over there?
Well, when we met, we were going to the same gym, and it was a small little local community center gym, right? And it was fun, and it was easy, and I was comfortable. Then I moved out of town, and I was going to another gym, more really intense place, and then I joined one of the big popular gyms.
Yeah.
2 stories.
Yes.
And I went in there
Fancy
for the
schmancy.
first time last week. I was a bit overwhelmed.
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
It happens to us all.
I can totally relate because we also just joined one of those big fancy gyms, and here I am. I've been a trainer forever, and I walked in and I'm like, oh my gosh, and no one wants to look like that new person that doesn't know what they're doing.
Right.
Even myself, when I have to go and find the equipment and start getting used to the lay of the land and where
right.
everything's at. So I will start with something on that line and just saying most gyms do offer a orientation, and I highly recommend it because then it not only helps you learn the lay of the land, it gives you somebody who now you can relate to, you can ask questions to. They sometimes even will introduce you to some people along the way, and help make it feel smaller and more accessible, and not so scary. So I do recommend taking up that orientation, because I think that can really help ease some of those jitters. So next would be, so he doesn't know what to do. He knows he needs to go.
Or he knows he needs to get in shape.
Well, so sometimes also signing up for some of the classes
Yeah.
that they offer at these gyms. So a lot of gyms will have, some have where you have to pay separate for classes, and some have it's included with your membership. And so starting to take a few of those so you can get used to the movements. Also, it helps you meet people at the gym, make friends there, and make it feel now almost like a community.
Right.
And you start having like people who you're like, hey, are you a regular in this class? Like I just took a alpha strength class, which was a big thing for me to go take a class from somebody else. And then I got partnered with this other lady and we ended up totally hitting it off. And it was really fun to have somebody to work out with. I haven't actually had a workout partner in a while. And so that's another thing is you can also try to enlist somebody to go with you. Having a workout partner increases your chances of being successful by almost 80%.
You know, that's such a big thing because next third, best third, we talk about accountability, we talk about honest appraisal, we talk about relationships. Man, if you had somebody you could do this with. That's huge.
And so whether you have a friend who's like, hey, let's join together, which also you might be able to get a discount on your membership because then there's now 2 of you. But then, so back to taking that orientation. If you don't have anybody to go with, that can give you somebody to relate to and help create a accountability partner.
Sure.
And so that's really why they set those up for people when they start to join new gyms.
Sure.
And I think one of the biggest things I will say is find something you like to do. Because working out should always be fun. And I always say this, being healthy isn't always easy, but finding things you like to do, it makes it more enjoyable. Like, oh, God, I got to drive to the gym and go lift all these heavy weights. But if you make it like where it's something that you enjoy to do, and then you learn, hey, you know, lifting legs and doing squats made me feel good.
Right.
And you start having that recognition of, I felt so good. Because I know this is kind of a cliche you hear people say, but no one's ever said, man, I regret that workout.
That's true. Yeah. So let me kind of backtrack just a little bit. So this guy that we're talking about, he doesn't want to go to the gym because he's never ever really been to a gym. Let's say he wants to get a little traction before he starts going.
For sure.
So what would you do? What would you advise him to do that he could do outside of the gym?
Yeah, I tell this to a lot of clients that are asking for personal training. I'll ask them, what are you doing already?
Yeah.
How has that been working out for you? So trying to be consistent, showing up for brisk walks. Just a walk in general, but a brisk walk. Yeah. That it's a purposeful walk. I started timing I time everything, I count things. I'm a trainer, I can't help it. That when I walk for 30 seconds on average, I should be hitting about 60 steps. That would be a brisk walk. That would be a 3 for me on a treadmill. If I walk at a 3 on a treadmill, when I walk outside, it'd be about 60 steps in 30 seconds.
Okay.
And I was like, wow, okay, so now I kind of know that where I'm at when I compared the two. So I know when I'm maintaining a brisk walk. And outside, it seems a little bit harder because you're out on pavement and you actually have to move yourself a little more than the treadmill is actually moving for you. So I would say to people, go for those brisk walks. Get outside. That's probably one of the best things you can do also because you're getting outside in nature.
Right.
You're getting vitamin D.
Yeah.
And that in itself can help change your brain chemistry. And so I think that's probably one of the best things everyone can do. I don't know if you've ever heard of, what is it called? Hard 75. It's really intense. And I totally love that program. And I think there's baby steps to take, but there's several key things from it. But one of them is that one of your workouts has to be outside. And I think that's a really great way to, because people need to be out in nature. We spend so much time inside on our computers, just inside in the house, watching TV, the end of the day, whatever, that taking those walks, doing something outside is...
Well, we're kind of discovering how good sunlight is for us.
Yes.
That's something that's kind of, come to light, so to speak, in the last few years. Because everywhere I read, they're saying, make sure you get your sunlight, your vitamin D through the sunlight. So I know myself, I'll go out to the pool and, I'll just spend 20 minutes just to get 20 minutes of sunlight.
it's so important, 15 minutes in the morning, first thing, at the end of the day, and really enjoying sunrise, sunset.
That's good.
It's so beautiful. And I think what a great way and a positive way to start your day.
Yeah.
I know not everybody is very excited about getting up and, oh my gosh, that's so early, but it is a really great way to start the day.
Yeah, not just physically, but emotionally, right? It helps everything,
And your circadian rhythm.
Yeah.
Because your brain perceives that time of day, and so it starts to help reset your clock.
So you get this guy out walking, hopefully in the morning and in the evening. That would
That'd
be
be great.
ideal,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
What about, so they're in the house, or he's in the house. What can he do with some sort of other physical things,
Several. Yeah.
Yeah.
Several things that I'll have all of my clients, when I'm taking them through their first few like mobility type drills or whatever, but you're in your kitchen, you're making coffee, push-ups on the counter, right? Because starting to get that engages your core. We're typically weak in our chest and tight. So strengthening, and you're waiting for your coffee to brew.
Right.
So, and if he's feeling like, drop down to the floor, do it on the floor, even better, right? But you're right in the kitchen, the counter's right there. And so even some of my older clients, that's really accessible for them. So it's accessible for anybody to do a countertop push-up. The wall is totally good as well. Sometimes we got to watch out for the wall in our head, right? So at least if we did countertop, we don't have to worry about hitting a wall.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I have a friend of mine. He's been on several episodes, and he really has been dedicated to getting in shape. He's quite a bit younger than me, and he's got little kids still, but he works from his home. His wife works from the home too. They homeschool their kids, so they're in the house all the time. And what he does is he drinks a lot of water. And so every time he goes to the bathroom, he does squats. He just sits there and he'll do like 10, 20 squats.
Perfect.
Every time.
Yeah.
Just air squats.
Exactly. And so going off of that, several of my clients will say stand up on one leg.
Oh, yeah.
So we work on our balance. So you can throw those like pistol squats, right? Where it's a single leg, standing and sitting. And because you'll find you favor one or the other.
Yeah.
So really starting to identify that. And so single leg, also going up and down your stairs. There's plenty of times when I haven't had time to go to the gym. I'll just do a couple of up and down on the stairs if you're lucky enough to have stairs.
Yeah.
Because I know the majority of people would prefer no stairs in their house as we get older. It might bother your knees. So
But if you have them, put them to use.
Put them to use.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then your couch, the stand up, sit down, hover, right? Like that squat hold, hover for,
So get in sitting position, but don't actually
sit down.
Okay. That's good.
It's, like the wall sit. And there's an assessment I do with clients. So, and I tell, a lot of my classes and stuff. So even if you're just starting out, like this is one of the best things you can do every 4 to 6 weeks is assess where you're at. So how many push-ups can you do? Just straight, how many push-ups? And if you're a female, if you want to start on your knees, and a lot of my clients start on their knees, and then by the next time we do our assessment, they're like, let me see how many I can do on my toes.
Yeah.
And so how many push-ups you can do, how long can you wall sit, how long can you hold a plank, and then a step test. So a 3-minute step test is, so if you think about like an aerobics class, they have those steps with risers. So for women, it should be 5 risers, and for men, it should be 7. But if you don't have it, you could think of like a bleacher. But what you're going to do is do a step test for 3 minutes at a 94 count. It's a beat, like on a metronome. You want to try to keep a specific beat, and we can get to that one. But anyways, do it for 3 minutes, and then you rest for 1 minute, and you take your heart rate then.
Okay.
And see how fast you're recovering. So the goal there is really not how high your heart rate's going to go, but how fast does your heart rate come down? And so you're going to take your heart rate, and then in 6 weeks, you'll test it again. And that's key for your cardiovascular health. And so I think that's a really great test to be doing with my clients because that tells me, Have you been going for your walks?
Right.
Have you been?
It tells you if they're
Cardiovascularly,
lying
yes.
or not, right?
And really,
Yeah.
that's an indicator for heart health when the number one killer in the United States is heart disease. So that's going to be, diabetes. And so if we can start keeping track, I know everyone's like, oh, strength, we need, and that is very true, but we really need to see where we're at cardiovascularly, where our heart rate is, how well we're recovering, because that's going to be an indicator.
That's interesting. So a couple things real quick is when you're talking about measuring and your heart rate and everything, you would recommend smartwatches or apps and things like that.
Yeah,
right? That helps.
You don't have to have it. I mean, so what you do is take your heart rate, like for 10 seconds, how many beats did you have, and then times it, by 60, six, right? And then for that minute, so then in 1 minute, do it again and see where it's at.
And the other thing that I would recommend is recording, right? Journaling, writing it all out. Make sure that, if you're going to this trouble, score it down, right?
Put it on your calendar. Say I did an assessment on June 1st. I would go back in either July 1st or July 15th, reset. So that would be 4 weeks to 6 weeks.
Yeah. It reminds me, I moved, as I told you, and I found this journal that I had. And this journal was a training journal that when I was training for running marathons.
Oh, yeah.
And it was so cool. I opened it up, and it was this year-long journal, and I saw where I literally, Carrie, I started. It was like I walked a mile.
Yeah.
Day one, I walked a mile. I did 5 push-ups. I ate this. I did this, that kind of thing. And then all of a sudden I'm seeing where, I sprinted, and did all this. And it was fantastic. It was so encouraging. Yeah. And that goes to what we talk about here is examining your life. Socrates says that an unexamined life is not a life worth living. So examining your life, keeping track, it's so encouraging.
Very true. Yeah.
So let's segue to the next guy. The next guy is the guy that I talked about who's very, very, very overweight.
Yeah.
It's hard for him to walk around the house almost, right? This is a man who's very much overweight. Where does he start?
Nutrition. It's all nutrition. There's so many places to start when you think about it. And I will say one thing that I think that really we get in a cycle, in a rut, is every 3 hours we are going to crave whatever we just had. So in your brain and in just our cravings and how our brains work. So in 3 hours, if I ate something healthy, I'm going to crave that nutrition. But if I eat something bad, I'm actually going to crave that. Okay. So it's breaking the cycle.
So in about 2 hours from now, I'm going to crave chips and queso because that's what I
want
had.
Something along those lines, that salt and the fat. So your brain is going to go, ooh, I want that again. It's part of like addiction, and if you really get into how our brains function. So every 3 hours, your brain literally will go, ooh. Yeah. So breaking the cycle, I think, is one that I see in a lot of people that are overweight because they are in this cycle of craving those carbs, those refined processed carbs. So breaking that cycle first, and learning to replace. So like, okay, I'm craving whatever this flavor is of something. So find something that like I'm craving soda, right? Find a sparkling water that's going to be as satisfying in our brain, but can break that cycle of all those sugars.
That's good. Yeah.
But so I think for somebody who's extremely overweight, changing some of those habits first, because one of those biggest causes for that type of weight gain is going to be what we're consuming that we're not mindful of. So sodas are a big contributor. I years ago was part of this weight loss challenge in Denver, and I had a guy who was over 500 pounds, and he lost 50 pounds in the first week by cutting out soda.
That's amazing. And that just has to encourage him so much.
So much.
So, I'm not a trainer, but I do life coaching, and there's this one gentleman who had reached out to me, and he's extremely overweight. And I had him write out, give me a list of everything you eat this week, So we went 1 week, everything you eat, and when you ate it. But I said, but while you do that, what I want you to do is I want you to be intentional about walking. And literally, he could only walk out of the house, up about 2 houses and back. That's all he could do.
Yeah.
But he did it every day for a week.
Yeah.
And by the end of the week, he went about 4 or 5 houses down.
Yeah.
And he felt so good about himself.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I do think there's something about putting in those little tests,
Yes.
you know,
Yeah.
of physical challenges, right?
Yep. Something that's going to, first of all, challenge you, but that you can have a win, right?
Yes.
That
So
it's
good.
achievable, and then you have somewhere to go, because I think if you start with a win, kind of like the whole making your bed, if you start with making your bed, you've already accomplished a task.
Right. And see, that's kind of where I wanted to go with this whole thing, this episode, because these guys, if they say, oh, I'm going to go to the gym, and they're so intimidated, you know, they're really not setting themselves up to win necessarily. But if you could build a few wins, that's going to make you go into the gym a little more with hope, you know?
Yeah. Like I heard this years ago, even just you drive by the gym, you go to the parking lot, and then say you don't go in. You just get used to driving there,
Wow.
right? And then, okay, well, I'm going to go in. And just start to go in, and it's, you know, I'm just gonna go take a look around. I'm gonna get my feel, and then I can leave.
Yeah.
You know, and like, but you were successful in going, and then I'm gonna go try this. It can be baby steps, you know, and it's just starting to get your body used to the habit.
Yeah.
This is part of my daily routine, and because a lot of that can be, you know, just breaking those habits, getting new habits.
Yeah, even for myself over the last 6 months or so, my life, my crazy full life, it has kind of caught me where I was out of sync with working out. I went to a different gym. The schedules weren't working for me. You know, it was kind of more like a CrossFit kind of gym, and they had classes, and it just didn't work for me in my rhythm. I couldn't get into a rhythm. Then I found myself putting on like 8 or 9 pounds, 10 pounds. And I decided just to go back to basics, Carrie. And I just said, I'm just going to show up.
Yeah.
I mean, just
Exactly.
show up. I'd go there and just dabble. So when I went to this new gym, I went in, and of course, all the machines were different than any of the ones that I worked on
Used to.
before, because there were different brands and different types of. But I went and I said, okay, I'm just going to play around with a few machines. I'm not going to have any kind of standard. I'm just going to get used to it a little bit. Hopped on the treadmill, went home. I was feeling good about myself.
Yeah,
You know?
it's a win.
It's a win.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Yeah. I think that's really going to be, I actually just did a training today. I trained a lot of trainers on how to teach TRX to some of their clients. And I was like, start with movements that they can achieve so that they can feel successful in that. And then they'll want to move on.
Yeah.
And
So this extremely overweight individual, obviously what you're intaking, right? Start changing what you're eating, the nutrition part.
yeah.
Creating something that you can do at home that's a win. And that might be, as you said about this other guy, about just getting up and down out of the chair.
Yeah.
I mean, X number of times.
Yep. Walking around, how long can you walk around? And start, you know, like contracting your muscles, getting used to like teaching your muscles
that's good.
You know, just like what that feels like to contract.
Yeah, without weights.
Yeah.
You
Yep.
just, okay, I'm going to work on my biceps, and you just do a
Yes.
slow contraction.
Yep.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep. And then even like kind of like even when I'm on a road trip, and you can do this at home, but just lift one leg up. So you start to engage your core. Lift the other leg up, engage your core. Because I've taken long road trips, I'm like, oh my gosh, I've been sitting here for way too long. So you start just thinking of little things. So lift up one leg, lift up, and you start working that core, getting used to some of those types of how that feels, and engaging your core. And then the walking, I think a lot of people discount walking, but it is one of the best things for you. Yeah. I mean, that's the only way that your spine is actually going to receive nutrition.
Really, through walking.
Through walking. So the discs in our back don't have like, blood flow. So the contraction and expansion of the disc, that's how the disc gets the nutrition. So every step we take is how our back gets that nutrition.
Very good. Very good. So I think the biggest thing, if you're struggling, you're overweight, and you're just trying to figure out how to get started, is just get started.
Well, and so it's always one of my favorite topics is what came first, the chicken or the egg? What's more important, working out or eating right? Really 80% of everything, 80, if not 90% is our nutrition, what we're eating, what we're consuming. But when we work out, our muscles release all of those good feeling hormones that make us feel good. So it's like, and that is going to make us want to eat something healthy.
That's right.
And so they really play on each other. You can't have one without the other.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's so good.
I mean, technically, you could eat yourself fit, right? You can't out-train a bad diet. And but you could actually eat yourself fit. But the training and the what we're going to get all those benefits out of there, the strengthening our bones, like literally putting our bones under pressure, like by holding weights, is going to strengthen our bones.
Yeah, so good. All right, let's go into the person who travels a lot for a living. Okay. So this person,
I get this topic a lot from all clients.
All right. So they travel a lot. You already know their problem, their situation. So maybe describe that. What do they talk to you about?
Well, first of all, I don't have time. I'm traveling all the time. I don't know what to do, and I really don't feel like I have time. But yeah, I really need to try to figure out what to do. So it's going to boil down to nutrition, big time, and then. So you can always work out in your hotel room doing body weight exercises. I've done that plenty of times. I've found some really great workouts in the fitness center. I mean, sorry, not in the fitness center, in the room. And I'll do like high knees, mountain climbers, push-ups, squats, squat hold. I mean, there's so many different exercises. You can just make years ago, this great exercise. If you happen to have a deck of cards. But you just take the deck of cards, you flip like 1, 2, or 3, and that's your number, and then you'll do that many mountain climbers. 1, 2, 3, that many squats. 1, 2, 3, and so you make it a deck of cards workout, and boom, you're done.
That's good.
And so there's a lot of different ways you can do something keep yourself healthy and active. And I think one of the biggest things when we're traveling is not using it as an excuse to eat whatever,
Right.
It's like, it's just like any other diet. If you have a goal, then remember that when you go to Starbucks to order your breakfast, when you walk into wherever, like there are healthy things on the menu. And, so do you get an Americano, maybe with some sugar-free vanilla instead of that mocha frappuccino,
right.
That has an extra 500 calories, and just start paying attention. I know that, well, just because I'm already talking about Starbucks, they have their protein, it's got the eggs and or they have the one with the apple. So they have some great options. There's a lot of great options on the menu, and, getting your, and I just was having a conversation with a client about that, is paying attention to when and what you're eating, so
that's a big, the time of when are you eating, right? I know when I used to travel for a living, it was very common after a full day, at conferences or in convention, all of a sudden find yourself going out as a group or find yourself going out a couple people, and it's like 8:30.
8:30, late. You're about to go to bed at like 9 because you have a meeting in the morning early or
that's
a
exactly
flight.
Right.
Yeah. So again, you can, especially if you are that hungry, make sure it's protein loaded.
Right.
That it's high in protein. Maybe skip some of the carbs in that meal since you're going to go to bed late. But make sure you're getting a good source of protein, getting high protein.
Yeah.
Maybe even skipping the alcohol if you're out with a bunch of coworkers.
That's a good idea.
I mean, try to get there a little earlier and just get a club soda with a lime so you look like you have a drink and you're still hanging out, having a good time, but you're avoiding those empty calories.
Okay. So another thing though that, like say, when you're traveling and you don't have time, I've never done this. I've got friends who do this. They use bands.
Oh, I wrote a whole book on bands.
I know you did. That's why he brought it up. You're one of my friends who told me about bands.
Yes. Yeah.
So
yeah.
talk
First
about
of all,
that real quick.
bands, and also I will say TRX. TRX is easy to travel with.
Okay. A lot of people don't know what that is.
TRX, it's those black and yellow straps that you see hanging in the gym. And you can, do a quick Google search for TRX. But it's like the perfect home gym and perfect for traveling. I have taken mine to Mexico. I've taken it to the mountains. Same with bands. They don't take up any weight and space. And so especially bands. I do absolutely love bands. Not to say I love them more than TRX, but I think there's some exercises that, especially banded pull aparts, you can do a lot of different things with bands. You can then now increase the resistance on your squats, and so get a little bit more benefit out of those squats that you're going to do in your hotel room. And you can actually hit a little bit more of, so bands I think are fantastic because they take up no room and no weight. Like this much room.
Yeah, I know when you sent me a copy of that book, one thing that I saw is with the bands, you can actually isolate body parts.
Yes.
So you can work just on shoulders. You can work on biceps. You can work on different body parts, which is really pretty awesome.
I keep wanting to just demonstrate this is a pull apart. So if you're holding a band here and you pull, I think everyone should do those.
Yeah.
Because it's going to help with your posture. And so it's also a great warm up one. But it just helps warm up your shoulders. And
I'm glad we touched on that because everybody we're talking about today would benefit from bands.
Everybody.
Right.
So it all started, the reason I wrote the book is I had a client saying, oh my gosh, I really want to get all these weights for my house. And, they found a whole bunch on Facebook Marketplace and what a great, and you don't know who you're buying from and then how much space it's going to take up, how you're going to go get all those weights. And I was like, hey, that's great, but what if you just got bands? It's not going to, you don't have to try to figure out where you're going to store it at your house.
Right.
You can do all these exercises. And that's what made me decide. I was like, I'm just going to write a book so you know what exercises to do. And it's easy to even look up exercises to do with bands. But yes, I mean, and she was like, oh, I never thought of that.
I still want to get you to do that on film, right? Videotape yourself doing it. Because it would be great. It'd be great. Okay, finally, we've got the elderly gentleman. And it's interesting, and some of the guys that I work with are in their 70s and 80s.
For sure.
Getting around pretty slow. I talk to them about exercise. They say, well, I've got knee replacement, or I've got arthritis, or I've got the gout, or I've got these, I've got stuff going on. And so it's kind of overwhelming to them. And of course, at that point in their life, they've gotten into this complacent routine in a rut. Let's just be honest. It's a rut. What about this guy?
Yeah.
Where he catches glimpse and says, I want to live till 90. I want to live till 100. How do we get him there?
First I'm going to say is nutrition.
Come on, we're going to have to do a whole episode on nutrition, okay?
Yeah. Everything is going to start with the nutrition. I have a elderly client I'm training right now that I've been training him for a while. And I've been helping him with mobility, and we'll go through all the different stuff I have him do for training. But finally one day I said to him, either you give me a food log and we start discussing your nutrition, or I want you to consider I'm not going to train you. I mean, I would not.
You were scared him.
I would not, but I was just like, we've got to see a change. You wanted him to have
a food log, everything he's been eating.
Yes.
Okay.
Because first of all, like the more stomach we have, the more indicator of something going on with our heart, right? And as we're aging and we have a trainer and it's like, this is something that's obviously important. So he finally started tracking his food and we started having real conversations about what he's eating. He is lost over 20 pounds now. And his goal was, I just want to try to get to 90 so I can, be there for my grandkids. And last week he told me, I think I can make it to 100.
Come on.
It's like, oh my gosh, what a great feeling. And I'm just so proud of him because he's doing the work.
Yeah.
And he's just like, Carrie, you've changed my life.
Yeah.
And it was, he's like, I haven't been under this in over 20 years.
See, and that's, but that's what examining your life and taking honest appraisal does.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's your thought life, your emotions, your physical conditions. If you examine it and take honest appraisal, it's motivating.
Yes. Yeah, and I'm just so proud of him.
That's so great.
Yeah. So then on to working out. what I work on with him, especially all my seniors, is when they come in and we're working out, I don't focus on just body parts. I don't go, okay, we're going to do, just a bunch of squats and we're going to hit legs. It's always total body. I'm looking at mobility and stability. So different exercises for hips, different exercises to protect our knees. Because I do have a lot of clients that have had single or double knee replacements, both hips. So what exercises they can and can't do. Right. If somebody has gout, they need to have black cherry concentrate. Okay. That's going to get rid of that. Okay. Because that's going to hurt in their feet, and they're going to say, I can't do lunges because my toes hurt. Yeah. And so black cherry concentrate will help that. That's nutrition.
Very good.
And working on getting up off the ground. I've had clients come to me and they said, I was working out or I was playing with my grandkids and I realized I couldn't get off the ground, and I really and so working on different exercises so we can work on that hip mobility, that core stability, so that we can get up and down and carry our grandkids around.
That's right.
And you be able to go and, they're Grandma, come on, let's go over here and try this, So that's what we need to be working on.
I've shared this on multiple episodes. Dr. Peter Attia wrote a book called Outlive, and he presents in that book this concept of a decade decathlon. 10 things that you want to do at certain decades of your life. And for me at age 90, one of mine is I want to be able to get down on the ground with my great grandkids and get up without assistance.
Yes.
I mean, that's one of my, for the decades of the 90s, one of my decathlons.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's such a big one there.
Yep. Little movements that, to practice is like, going down onto the ground on your knees and then standing back up. Without using your hands on the ground. And so that's that hip mobility, being able, and then again, that's core stability to control that. So I work on those types of things with my clients. But again, I really will say a lot of the movements that I do with them are total body.
Right.
I will, just head to toe and multifunctional movements.
How important is it? I know it's important at all aspects, but especially for the elderly to do breath work.
Everything stems from, being able to control your breathing, match your breathing to your movement. Every exercise that you're going to do, that being like exhale is going to give you that deeper contraction in those muscles, bracing the core. That's going to help you brace your core. And I love that you say that, because we don't take enough deep breaths and then ever focus on our breathing. And the whole time I'm training clients, I'm like, take a big deep breath, and then practicing our long exhales, especially if you take any of my classes. It's okay, that long exhale, because that's going to help you recover. That helps bring your stress down so that we can push again. Yeah,
there's so much to it. There's two things: breathing.
There's a really great book on breathing. It's called Breath. It's fantastic.
Okay, I'll get it.
And because
I'm really interested in breathing. Oh my God. Now. Yeah.
It's actually a great read.
Okay, I'll get it. And then the other thing is water. As you get older, especially and you're getting close in your 70s and 80s and beyond, you don't thirst. You don't recognize it, and so you have to force yourself. Yeah. My mother lived with us for years, and as she would get older, I'd say, "Are you drinking your water?" And she'd take a little glass of water and it'd be sitting next to her chair.
All day.
Like, all day. I go, "You didn't drink any water."
Yeah. So on that note, specifically several of my clients and myself, the water tracking water bottles, because that way you can see what you drank at each hour. I am the biggest fan of those, and I've seen so much success with my clients once they start tracking their water. And just buy one of those water bottles so you can see, oh, it's 8 o'clock, I didn't drink that one. It's 9 o'clock, I didn't drink that one. And so then at 12 o'clock you fill it back up and you do it all over again. And and that's really because, so your minimum amount of water you should drink a day, take your body weight, divide it by 2, and that's in ounces. So that's your minimum. And so then I always say whatever you're drinking during your workout should be a little extra.
That's a lot of water.
That's a lot of water, especially David, my husband David, when he sweats, it looks like he just got out of the pool. He'll do a workout and
he's a big man.
There's so much water.
He's a big man too, so he carries a lot of weight. He's in good shape, but he carries a lot of weight.
Yes.
Well, this is so good. I so appreciate you coming and doing this.
Yeah,
I hope
thanks
it's
for
helpful.
having me.
Yeah, it's always good to get back together.
I could talk about this forever. I do it all day, so I love chatting about it, and
Yeah.
just like live, eat, sleep, breathe. I can't, so.
Well, like I say, with Next Third, Best Third, we really, there's 5 pillars. There's your thought life, your physical condition, your emotional well-being, relationships and being intentional about it, and then the lies we believe, that affect our identity.
Yes.
But out of all the comments we get, so many of them are about the physical condition.
For sure.
And so it's it really, they all work together. They all intertwine. You can't have one without the other. But if you improve your physical condition, it's going to help your emotional outlook.
Yes.
And if that's happening, your relationships are going to be, benefited.
For sure. Like I just recently got asked this question, and I thought it was a really great question. Is what is your idea of health? And it can really look so different. And it was like, well, are you trying to ask me about nutrition health or overall health? Because that is so many things. And I really feel like balance in our lives, and everyone's told, oh, you have to balance this. You have, but really when we can try to manage stress, when we can eat healthy, what feels healthy for us, right? Because my idea of healthy food and so say somebody is vegan or vegetarian, their idea of nutrition and what's healthy is definitely going to look different. And but so what makes them feel good, and finding those things that resonate with you.
Yeah.
And I think we can know what feels good to us and what feels bad, and how to balance, and how we unwind when we experience stress. Going, okay, I can see and receive stress, and it's okay to be stressed, but how do I manage that stress?
Process, right, right. I'm glad you said that, because, people ask me a lot, says, what, in a nutshell, what's Next Third, Best Third about? It's about health. It's about health, all over health, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So if we appreciate you all listening. If you could do me a favor, if you could subscribe, that goes so far. I want to get up. My goal is to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of August. So by the time this comes out, I hope we're close. Like, comment, share. It all helps grow this channel, and we can keep bringing great guests like Carrie and touching on,
Thank you again
on
for
these
having me.
topics that mean so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go make the next third your best third. See you next time.